Good evening, lovely people. It's Sap back again with another weird news article. I just finished reviewing the news article of a Chinese man who inserted a 20 centimeter live eel in his rectum to cure his constipation. One quick spoiler alert, it did not fix his constipation. But today we got another news article. And it's called, let me just read the headline. Again, warning, very much peculiar, but I hope that nobody who's watching is a chronic smelly sock sniffer. Because if you are, you might get your habits called out. But let me read the headline. Man who sniffed his own smelly socks every day. It's every day, bro. No smelly sock day sniffing, skipping. In hospital with lung infection. I bet your ass that you never would have expected that smelling your socks could get you a lung infection. But apparently it can. And I didn't know either, but I don't sniff my smelly socks every day. Believe me. You might think that's the case, but believe me, not today. Let me see. So this is the X-ray picture of the smelly sock sniffer, who was definitely busted, red-handed, because no spoiler alert, but he had to ultimately tell the doctors why he would think that he got the lung infection. So he had to admit that he's a fucking smelly sock sniffer, innit? The man was taken to the hospital where he had an X-ray. So this is the picture. You can't really see a lot, but it looks definitely fucked up. The man has a severe fungal infection that had developed in his shoes from his sweaty feet and spread into his lungs when he breathed in the spores. It is reported. And again, the spores, it sounds like a seed which you would use in your garden for farming. But it's actually somewhat the case that yes, those spores, if they end up in your lungs and you have a weakened immune system, or even if you have a strong immune system, but you're like fucking, I don't know, sometimes fungal infection can be really aggressive. But those spores will ultimately grow into more huge fucking fungus, which you would find on Nancy Pelosi's feet or wherever else. But that could ultimately get you a horrible lung infection. And remember that the lung infection is always dangerous, of course. A man has been hospitalized with a severe fungal infection in his lungs, believed to be caused by sniffing his socks at the end of each day. And later we'll learn that it's not just believed to be, that doctors will, after he told the story, after a hard day of work, I like to treat myself by sniffing my smelly socks every once and then. Like eating a pint of ice cream for a hard day of work. This man prefers smelly socks. And then the doctor said that it was unambiguous, that it had to be the smelly socks that would cause the lung infection. The man from Zhangzhou in southeastern China would smell his socks after finishing work daily. It is reported. Like I said, a hard day of work must be rewarded. Some people like money, some people like pizza, ice cream. This mofo likes smelly socks, sniffing it, that is. He would return home from work and change into more comfortable clothes, but would reportedly sniff the socks he had been wearing all day. This is even crazier, like I said. If he just sniffed the new, fresh, clean socks, he might have not gotten a lung infection because there was no fucking fungus in the clean socks. But he had to sniff the smelly socks. He had to pick the dirty ones. If he just didn't do that, he would have been fine. As a result, he is thought to have caught an infection from a fungus that had developed in his footwear from his sweaty feet. This then spread to his lungs when he breathed in the spores, according to reports. Yeah, and again, this is another picture. I don't know what I'm looking at. It looks like a fucked up Pokeball, which you would throw at a Pokemon, but this man apparently, this is the Pokeball as a result of sniffing smelly socks. But yeah, honestly, it says here over here, an X-ray of the man's lungs. This doesn't look like more again like a Pokeball. It looks like, or a fucking massively testicle. I don't know, but it doesn't look like lungs to me. Well, actually, if you zoom in a little bit and if you see this as the lungs, but I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Another interesting news article. What does it say over here? Granddad had lungs washed out with cleaning fluid in hospital procedure mix-up. Oh, enjoy the cleaning fluids. That doesn't sound too enjoyable. The man was admitted to hospital as an emergency case where an X-ray confirmed he was suffering from a severe lung infection. I bet you that there's not many emergency cases in hospitals about men or women or they, them, or whoever else, or even dogs, cats, sniffing smelly socks and getting lung infections. I hope that was the first emergency case of that situation ever. But you never know how many smelly sock sniffers there are. They're always hiding somewhere. Medics reportedly confirmed it was caused by his frequent sniffing of his own socks. That's the one thing, and that's what I said, I do seriously want to give out a warning to Joe Biden, because as we all know, Joe Biden is a very big fan of sniffing, and ultimately, never do drugs. It might eventually end up in the habit of smelly sock sniffing if Joe Biden doesn't, be a little bit careful about his habit of sniffing, and he might ultimately end up with a lung infection. If he really starts the dangerous sniffing, not the cocaine, but the smelly socks. Which was actually found in the White House, by the way. This is an old article, I think a month and a half, that there was a little bit of, well, not a little bit, I think it was more than a gram, of cocaine found in the White House. And it wasn't Parmesan cheese, and it luckily wasn't a smelly sock. Otherwise, there would be many severe fungal lung infections in the White House. The man who has not been named. Oh, that's unfortunate. I mean, again, I've said this in the previous video as well about the Chinese man who inserted a 20 centimeter live eel into his rectum. You actually want to let your name known, because it's great to put on your resume when you're going in for a job interview. You are the man who got a lung infection from sniffing his own smelly socks. I'm sure your boss would love that and instantly hire you with the highest pay raise there is. The man who has not been named, he has been kept in hospital for treatment. You meant to say has been kept in hospital for treatment, but okay. Again, this is not the fucked up Pokeball, but this looks like a ghost with the eyes and actually, never mind, fucking hell. The man was suffering from a severe lung infection, I understand. Okay, foot fetishes, here we go, have been known for many years, but a fascination with socks is less heard of. That's not true. Look, don't think the wrong things about me. I'm not a foot fetishist or a disgusting... Like, you have so many people, and this is not even a joke, you have so many people that pay OnlyFans girls, and then you pay them loads of money, and then what do you get? Fucking pictures of their feet. I mean, what the fuck? If you're gonna pay that much money, and you ask for the feet pictures, I mean, holy fuck, and that's what you ask for all that money. But anyway, that's already really, really peculiar. But there's also many stories of people, again, not me in case you're going to think that, there's many stories of people buying the used socks that females have worn throughout the day. Don't ask why, but it's fucking disgusting. But they should have mentioned that the habit of smelling or sniffing smelly socks is unheard of. Because that's actually true, that I've never heard about motherfuckers doing that. And especially the ones getting a severe lung infection and all the fungus everywhere. But earlier this year, a 21-year-old girl in America, of course the US, revealed that she had attracted a sock daddy who was prepared to pay large sums for her sweaty socks. Like, holy fuck, this is exactly what I mean. But especially if you call yourself sock daddy as a man, I mean, you probably already are chemically castrated, but there's definitely something going on in the prefrontal cortex. I mean, what the fuck? If you're going to buy smelly socks from females on the internet, at least do it somewhat privately. But calling yourself sock daddy and putting that on your resume to get hired... I don't know. I don't know if that will do well in a job interview. Sock daddy looking for a job. But thank you all very much for watching, again, another disgusting video. I hope you learned something today, that never to sniff your smelly socks after a hard day of work. Otherwise, if you want major fungus in the bronchialis, in the lungs, then definitely sniff your smelly socks. But I don't recommend it. Thank you for watching.